Okay, today I'm going to do a quick video over how to read and write to text files using GForth. And there was a comment from InfoCrate3885. Says, can you do the same in GForth and show us how you read and write using only the command line? So I'm actually going to reinstall GForth. I'm going to install the latest version. I'm going to just cover that real quick. And I've got a new virtual machine. So I'll show you how to do that and read and write to text files using GForth. So I've got my virtual machine pulled up. I'm using Linux Mint, and I went to gforth.org, and it seems the latest version is 0.7.3. So what I'm going to do is just copy and paste this in and see if this works. So here we go. And we'll let that install, see if there's any errors. And I may have to install something. So I'll come back whenever this finishes. And now that this is finished, it took it quite a few minutes. You can just type in GForth. And you should get the interpreter, you should get a prompt. So you can type in something like words, and it will list the words, and you can, have access to the data stack. And in the next part, I want to show you how to read and write to text files. First, I'm going to show you how to create a text file. It's pretty simple. It's only one line of code to actually create the file, and well, it's probably like two lines of code. You have to create the file and close the file. So let me just get into GForth, and with 3 lines of code, we created the file, we wrote some text called some text, and we closed it out. So you can see over here, we created the file and it inserted our text, which is some text. And we can actually create files as simple as just 3 lines of code. So if you want to know how this works, anytime I'm learning how to do this, I always use the words locate and the words where. So these 2 words, and also the words see. So these 3 words will actually tell you a lot about how something works. So you can type in locate, create file. And if you get this, what I do is I'll just type in where, create file. This will tell you all the locations in GForth where this is used. In this case, it's used in blocks.fs. So you can actually go to these files and see how this word is implemented. But usually you can get a feel for it. You can tell that this word uses something called read write, and it's gonna always have the word throw after it. So you can actually find out what these mean in the documentation. So you go to this website, and you can see that this will be read only, read write, write only. And you can see that our word that we just used was create dash file. So you can see that it takes an address, number of bytes, and this WFAM is going to be one of these. So you're going to specify if it's read only, read write, or write only. And you can read all about all these other words. There's a ton of things to cover actually. But the easiest one is slurp file. That's the easiest way to actually read this file from GForth. So what I can do is just type in foo.out slurp-file, and I can dump the contents, and we can see that it contains, you know, our piece of text. So we can actually, you know, just type in type, and that will type out the contents to the screen. So I like this because I can send it anywhere. I can import it into GForth. I can parse it. I can add words. I can subtract words. I can do all sorts of string manipulation inside of GForth. There's a ton of words to do that. And I think this is one of the easiest ways to actually read and import a text file. So in the next part, I'm going to show you how to open and write the time to the text file. To write the time to a text file, I created 2 words to accomplish this. So I'm going to open up Swift or GForth, and I'm going to import those words in. So I'm just going to paste right in. And right here, we can see that we have 2 words called get time and hours, minutes, and seconds. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to use this word, which is time and date. If we just run that by itself, we can see that it outputs, you know, the date followed by the time, which is way down here. So we need to get rid of these, the first 3 things. So that's what this does. So we can actually type in to drop and get rid of those 3 things. So now we're just working with the hours, minutes, and seconds. So we need a way to convert this from these integers into strings and to send it to our text file. So you can see that this accepts a integer or a number. So we're going to feed in the number 22, and it's going to spit out an address and a number of bytes. And this is how you do number conversion in Forth. So if you want to read all about it, you can go to this page. I will have a link below, but it tells you how to do this. I believe they call it formatted numeric output. And you always are going to start with this, and you're going to end with a closing bracket. So you look at this, you can see you have an opening bracket and a closing bracket. So you're always going to have those 2 things. And this right here, basically, this is saying at the end of all these numbers, put a colon at the end. So I can type in get time, and you can see right here that it's, you know, just putting a colon at the end of our 2 numbers. So I can type in .s, type in type. So that's what it's doing, is it's leaving an address, a number of bytes, which is 3, which is our 2 numbers followed by the colon. And that's kind of how you accomplish this here. So you can read all about this. It's pretty useful. You can do all sorts of conversions. I mean, anything you can think of, you can do it. You can have dollars. You can have like a phone number. If you have a integer on the data stack, you can actually convert it into a phone number. And, you know, I mean, it's up to your imagination. So I recommend reading this page. It will cover the basics. So that's all we're doing, is we're converting a number to a string. And that's what this is doing. And we're moving it into our scratch pad of memory. So let me see. So I can actually convert these two. Just type in get time, and I can do pad swap move, and that will convert, I believe the minute. So we can move the minutes over into our scratch pad of memory. And we can also, convert the second and move it over here. So that's all I'm doing with this, is I'm just grabbing 3 numbers off the data stack. I'm converting it into strings and moving it here into our scratch pad of memory. And then at the end, I'm leaving myself, with 8 bytes, and that's what I'm going to send to my text file. So let me erase all this. If you want to erase it, just type in page. And what I'll do is we will open the file again and see how it works. So I'll type that in, and we can, I believe from here you can actually open the file manager. So we can type in our folder followed by the word system, and that will open up our file manager. If you're on another Linux system, just go up to help, about, and instead of Nemo, you'll replace Nemo with whatever you see there. So that'll bring up the file manager. And we can see that we have our military time there. To create a script, all you need to do is prepare a text file with the words that you want ran. So in this case, I created a file called updatescript.txt, and I've included an additional word, which is zcount. This was merely copied over from GForth, so it will count until a 0 is reached, because I'm using a 0 terminated string. So that's the only addition, and I've changed this to pad zcount. Now if you leave this as 8, sometimes the second will only be like 1 second. So there's not like a 0, 1. It'll just say 1. So you'll get kind of a weird bug. So that's why I'm using that. So use zcount. And at the end, what I'm doing is I'm using another word, or 2 words, called file size and reposition file. This basically ensures that you're always going to append text to the end of the file. If you don't include these 2 words, then you will always overwrite the file. So if you want that behavior, just remove these 2 lines. And then I'm going to write the hours, minutes, and seconds to the file. I'm going to close the file and clear the data stack. And if you write a script, always include the word by. It works the same in GForth. And all we need to do now is just save this. And I don't think I have anything in this file. I'll just erase this and we'll start over. So I'll come over here, run the script, and it should have updated. And we can see that it's writing. So we'll ensure that it's writing to the end of the file. So we should have 2 more things in there. And there we go. So you can just append the time. You can add, more text to the file, and you can customize it to however you want. So if you get that error, just hit reload. And yeah, so this should work for you. You can put it in a cron task or cron job, have it run every hour, and if you want more information about how to do this, I would recommend you go to these sites right here. It will cover reposition file, and it will cover that. Also, you want to check out this file, or this right here. This kind of shows you the proper way to do it. I kind of sped through it, but if you want to set it up this way, you can also, set your values beforehand. And you can also, scan for a particular line. You can do, all sorts of things. So I recommend checking this page out, and also the formatted numeric outputs. So they give you a lot of examples here. And that's about it. So if you have any questions, like, subscribe, and let me know what you think.